Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I want to do something slightly different. So far a lot of the videos have been very reptile heavy. So in today's video I wanted to introduce the bird species of Round Island because we have quite a few here, and you may already be able to hear a cooing noise behind me, which is the barred dove or the zebra dove. Now this is unfortunately an introduced species to Mauritius, but it's still a really lovely sound to hear in the morning. I'm going to go up here now so we can have a listen. We can hear the cooing sound. It's coming from all over the place. So first this morning I'm going to head up to the summit of Round Island where we have a lot of bird species up there. There's a lot of nesting seabirds. So we're going to have a look and see what we can find. But first I've got to make that lovely climb. Now it did rain last night, so part of this slab is probably going to be very slippy. This hill never gets any easier. So I'm not even at the summit yet and I've already found our first nesting seabirds. So over here we have a pair of Round Island petrels. They're sitting on a nest. I don't think they've laid yet, but they look like they might do soon. So the nest was just over to the right here and I can't see anything on it. They've moved over there I think probably because they've seen me and they're a bit nervous. But yeah, I don't think they've laid anything yet. I'm just going to carry on walking up to the summit and leave those guys there. So the thing about Round Island petrels is they are incredibly nervous of people, more nervous than any other bird here by a mile. And sometimes if they just see someone they will just fly away. So I'm just going to carry on walking and leave them two to it. Now one thing you can probably notice straight away is just how ideal Round Island is for nesting seabirds. So you can see there's lots of these sort of overhanging rocks here, which is perfect for the birds to kind of shelter from the weather from when they're building their nests. And like all the way up here as well, there's just so many places that all these seabirds can go. I should point out it is actually the quiet season at the moment, but in July, August time, at the height of the breeding season, all of these rocks will be full of seabirds, their nests and their cute little chicks. And at the height of the breeding season, there's up to 80,000 breeding pairs of seabird here. So you can really tell why it's such an important seabird colony within the Indian Ocean. And about 90% of those seabirds are made up of the wedge-tailed shearwater, who most of them are not here at the moment. They did disappear out to sea earlier this month, but they will be back towards the end of the year. But hopefully we will still see a couple that are left behind today. I've just noticed there's a tortoise spying on me. Hey buddy, you're having a nice little relax in the shade. That look probably means go away. Now right on top of the summit here is where you tend to get a lot of the tropic birds doing their aerial displays. So of the 3 species of tropic bird we have in the world, we have 2 of them breeding here on Round Island, the red-tailed tropic bird and the white-tailed tropic bird. Now the red-tailed tropic bird is a lot more bulky than the white-tail, but the clue to identify them really is in the name. The red-tailed tropic bird has a long red tail and the white-tailed tropic bird has an even longer white tail. So during the late 1800s right up until the 1970s, 80s, the northern islands of Mauritius had a really big problem with poaching of seabirds. Now the targets in particular were the wedge-tailed shearwater and the red-tailed tropic bird, with the wedge-tailed shearwater suffering the biggest decline, probably because there were a lot more of them. They were a lot more of an easy target for the poachers. But thankfully poaching doesn't really exist here on Round anymore because there's a permanent presence here on the island, and also a lot more awareness has been raised as to why we should protect these birds. Sadly poaching does still go on some of the other islets that don't have people there 24/7, but hopefully in the future it will go down even further as more awareness is raised as to why seabirds are so important and why we need to protect them. So So behind me just here you can see Serpent Island. Now Serpent Island is a lot smaller than Round is, but they have up to 200,000 breeding sooty terns on there, which is absolutely crazy. Now unfortunately sooty terns don't breed here on Round Island, but we do sometimes see them flying past. And the same with the masked booby and also some noddy species as well that do breed on Serpent Island, but don't breed here. But we still see them occasionally just flying past the coastline here. So hopefully we'll find a tropic bird nest in one of the rock crevices over here. So I'm going to walk further along and see. I just turned around and spotted some white feathers just at the top of the hill here, so I'm just going to go and have a look. So this one doesn't have a chick unfortunately, but you can see really nicely how sometimes their white feathers can have a bit of a pinky shade to it. So I've just found the nest of a red-tailed tropic bird, and this one's quite young because it's still got all of its fluff. It will lose that eventually before it fledges and goes out to sea, but yeah, it's really cute. You can see the adults watching me very carefully to make sure I don't get too close, and to be honest, with a beak like that, I don't think I'd want to. It's when they're sat down like this you can really see how much stockier the red-tailed tropic bird is compared to the white-tailed tropic bird. So I'm very glad I've been able to show you tropic bird paradise here on Round. I will be coming here again hopefully in future videos, so don't you worry. But I'm going to head down the slope a bit now to hopefully spot some more bird species for you. Well, going downhill is definitely a lot nicer than going uphill. I've dropped down to the Palm Rich area now, as this is where I tend to find the wedge-tailed shearwaters. So they usually tend to be under these kind of palm trees here, so I'll have to like have a look underneath to see if I can find some of the last remaining ones. Hopefully I will be able to find one today. So I've just found the absolute perfect nest site for the wedge-tailed shearwater. Now these guys like to burrow into the soil to create their nests, and this was actually dug out underneath the dead Latania fronds that have kind of fallen from the tree here to create this nice sort of cozy little space. And you can actually see where it has dug out the soil to create this nest. And I have just checked and there is a little guy in there at the moment. So during the breeding season, which usually begins around September time, both the male and female adults will help to excavate the nest, and they'll use their beak and their claws to help dig out the soil. They'll lay an egg within that nest which they'll incubate for up to 50 days. A few days after it hatches, they'll then go out to sea to forage for the chick, and they'll keep feeding it until the chick grows to a weight that's a lot heavier than the adults, which usually occurs just after the 100-day mark. The adults will then desert the chick entirely and go out to the open sea to forage, leaving the chick to fend completely for itself until it fledges. Now if you actually look at this chick, you'll see it's got a bit of fluff on the top of its head. Now this is the coat it has while it's a chick that it begins to lose as it becomes close to fledging time. So I imagine this chick is going to leave the nest fairly soon. So there we have the wedge-tailed shearwater. Now there are still quite a few of them around, but most of the ones here at the moment are the chicks that are waiting to fledge. So they'll eventually go out to sea, but all of the birds will return in a few months' time, ready for the next breeding season. So behind me you might be able to hear our two species of exotic land bird that we have here on Round Island, the house sparrow and also the ground barred dove, which I mentioned earlier in the video. Now I'm not sure how these two species got here exactly. The most likely theory is probably accidentally by boat, which is usually the case. So I'm just heading down to the coast now because sometimes we can see some of the birds that breed on Serpent Island fly past here, so hopefully we'll get to see something a little bit different. But while I'm here, can we just appreciate the amazing geology this island has to offer? I mean, look at the cool patterns in the rock face just here, isn't it amazing? So over here I've just seen a group of, well, I think are ruddy turnstones. Now these are beautiful birds. I'm going to go over and have a look now. Okay, so I've just found one on its own on a rock just over here. So these guys are beautiful little shorebirds that make the cutest little chipping noise as they're flying. And as you can see, it's foraging around the rocks at the moment, looking for fish, crustaceans, anything really it can get its beak on. And they're very much adapted for these kind of coastal habitats. They have a special kind of grip on their feet that allows them to grab onto the slippery rocks, so they're able to keep themselves in position while they grab the fish out of the water. He's just caught one. These guys are very good at catching fish, but they also use that beak to help flip over stones as well to look for invertebrates that might be hiding underneath. Oh, I'm so happy I got to see some of the ruddy turnstones and show you them today. They're my absolute favourite coastal birds you get here. I absolutely love them. So I'm going to head back to the field station now, but I'll come out again later on this evening to hopefully see some of the Round Island petrels in flight. Hi everyone, it's a bit later on in the evening now and I've come out to see the Round Island petrels. So this is when they tend to be the most active. This is when they're out of the nest, soaring around in pairs, making their call, which you can probably hear in the background now. Perfect timing. So one reason why I love to come out at this time to watch this species is if you listen really closely, you can hear the whooshing noise they make as they fly through the air. What a fantastic species to finish on, and I will be doing more videos in the future about the birds of Round Island, so don't worry about that. So all that's left to say is thank you very much as always for watching this video. If you're not already, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that notification button for more exciting episodes. And with that, I will see you on my next adventure.